Hey guys, I just got a new Ducky keyboard. Ducky is a Taiwanese based company, but I actually got this one imported from China. I've never seen this keyboard in person yet, so I'm actually going to do this review while unboxing it. So just give me a second to take up all this packaging. Okay, so here's the retail box. This is one of the more nicer boxes that I've seen for mechanical keyboards. Okay, this is a Ducky Year of the Dragon model, and if you're wondering why they named it Year of the Dragon, it's because based on the Chinese zodiac, 2012 is the Year of the Dragon. So since this keyboard was produced this year, Ducky named it Year of the Dragon. Okay, so let's go through the accessories. First, here's the manual. Not going to go over that. They included some extra keycaps. This looks like the WASD cluster right here. They also included some extra caps right here and keycap puller. I wouldn't recommend using this because it could scratch your caps, just because based on how it works. I would recommend using this instead, a wire puller. Alright, let's see what else you get. I got this Geek Hack cap right here because I bought this keyboard from a group buy on Geek Hack. So this is a little special item that I got. Okay. This looks like a Ducky keychain. So it's a keychain you can put various caps on. You can just take this off and put whatever other keycap you want. It's a switch. Alright. This looks like a detachable cable with a little cable tie, similar to Philco's. Here you go. Alright, and that's about it. Now let's get to the keyboard. Okay, this keyboard looks like comes with a sleeve. Feels pretty nice. It's more like a velvet finish on the outside, but the inside looks like it's a nylon, some kind of nylon material. There's the keyboard cover and the keyboard itself. Okay, this looks like it's an ANSI layout in a 10 key list form factor. So that means it has 87 keys and there's no number pad over here. Okay, it looks like there are media keys up here. And it is a backlit keyboard. Construction feels pretty sturdy. There's not really any flex. It's about the same weight as Philco. And the case, it feels like it's a semi-rough textured finish on the surface. It's not perfectly smooth, but not too rough either. Looks like there is a little symbol right here, which I'm assuming it's a dragon symbol. Alright, now let's get to the keycaps. These are plastic keycaps. It looks like it's made of some kind of white translucent plastic, and they basically just painted black over it, and then the legends are just etched in whatever letters you want it, so that light can shine through these the little legends. Okay, stabilizers. These use cherry stabilizers. Let me see. Mainstream keyboards like Philco, Cooler Master, or Roswell, they all use co-star stabilizers, but all Ducky keyboards they use cherry style stabilizers, and you can tell by this little, you can tell right here. Ducky has little plastic stems similar to the normal switch, except these stems don't have springs, so then they're not popped up. But that's how you can tell they're cherry style, as opposed to co-star. Right here, this is from my Philco. Right here you can see these wire inserts. Right, and the difference in feel, let me just get a space bar to put on. Okay, the difference in feel between these, you can see that co-star feels a little more crisp and defined, whereas cherry, it's a little more muffled and dampened. See? Okay, this keyboard I got it in MX Black, but then it looks like only the spacebar, they have a gray switch right here. Gray switches are a little more stiff than black ones. Okay, so let's turn it around. Actually, let me get this so it doesn't scratch the keyboard. Okay, the bottom, it looks like there are 4 rubber grip right here, so it doesn't slide around on the table. They do have feet that pop out. These feet, they don't feel as smooth as Philco or Cooler Master Quickfire, but you know, I guess it's more of the function of it. This pushes the keyboard up, so then it's more at an angle when you're typing. These are little dip switches. I'm assuming they're for the function layer or the LED options. Okay, and there's a detachable cable port right here that plugs into here. Let me just get the cable to show you. Okay, so the way they implemented this system is kind of like the Cooler Master Quickfire, where you plug in the cable from the bottom right here instead of the sides, like a lot of the keyboards. Okay, so when you plug it in, you can either route the cables directly to the front right here, or you can switch it to the sides like this, depending on where your computer is. Okay, like that. You can just push the wire into the little channels. I actually like this because when you move around the keyboard, you're not putting stress directly onto the port itself, because if you do that, you can ruin this, and then you could have problems with the keyboard not disconnecting. So when you have these little channels and you put stress on the wire, you know, the stress just it ends right here where the channel is instead of directly where the port is. So I like how they implemented this. Okay, so I think okay, so just give me a few minutes to play with this keyboard, and then I'll show you all the LED options. Okay. Okay, actually before I plug it in and test it out, I want to just get a close-up of the keyboard and the keycaps. Okay, keep in mind that this Ducky Year of the Dragon is a limited edition. Only certain number of them were made, and each one has its own serial number. And each switch type only comes with one LED color. So MX Red has purple LEDs, MX Blue has blue LEDs, MX Brown has yellow LEDs, and this one right here is an MX Black switch, which has green LEDs. They don't come in different options of switches and LEDs, so if you want a certain switch type, you're stuck with only one LED color. If you want to mix and match LEDs and switch types, you have to get the normal Ducky Shine II, which is basically the same as this Year of the Dragon, except it's not a limited edition, and there's also only one less LED function option. Okay, so let's plug it in right now, and then I'll show you the LEDs. Okay, I had a few minutes to learn all the LED functions, so here's just a demo of one of the LED modes, and when it finishes I'll go over all the different functions. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that with this limited edition, this function key here is in the picture of a dragon. With all the other Ducky models, you don't get this function key right here. It's just a normal function key. Okay, so let's go over all the different LED modes right now. Okay, the first one, when you hold function key, you press F10. About 60% of the keyboard lights up, so all the main keys that you type on right here. Okay, when you hold function, press F10 again. The rest of the keys light up, so this whole top row and the side keys right here. Right now it's on the lowest brightness setting. You can change that, however, by pressing the function and press F11 or F12 to increase or lower the brightness. Okay. I prefer the lowest setting because it gives kind of a nice ambient hue to the green. But if you want it on the highest setting, it looks really crisp in person, but then if you're in a really dark room, then it could be too bright. For the rest of the review, I'll just leave it on the lowest setting. Okay, for the next mode, function F10, and in this mode you can see that the light pulsates from the dimmest setting to the brightest setting. I'm not sure how well it's going to show up on camera because my camera might just adjust to the light exposure, but in person it looks pretty obvious. Okay, next mode, function F10, and it'll just blink really fast. And then in this mode, how it works is the lights only turn on when you actuate the keys. Okay, like that. So I'm not sure how useful this is going to be because when you're typing on something, your fingers are covering the letters and the light, you know, but it is there when you need it. Okay, and the last mode is the one I just showed at the beginning. So in this mode, the light pattern moves across and down the different rows, and then everything lights up. And lastly, the 2012 slowly comes on and blinks, and then it pulsates up and down. Okay, and then after that the dragon key lights up, and then the whole thing repeats again. Okay. Oh yeah, and if you don't like this 2012 right here, they also included the normal keys that you can replace it with. Okay, so the 4 normal keys here, you can replace the 2012. Okay, let's turn it off. And then the last feature of this keyboard is that you can program your own LED pattern. Okay, to do that, you hold the function key, press the record button, and in this mode, whenever you press the key, it lights up like that. When you press it again, it turns off. Okay, so you can program something like the WASD cluster, and then to save this pattern, you just press the record again, and then when you do that, it locks in the pattern that you saved. So when you're typing something, it stays lit. Okay, you can also reprogram it into whatever pattern you want. So function record, you can turn it off, and then let's say you want something like this. Okay, save it, and then you can turn it off, and then to activate it again, turn on by function F8. Right, there's actually two memory banks, function and the record too. It basically works the same way, and I already pre-programmed it, so this is what it looks like. And you can switch in between the two really fast. Alright, and keep in mind that in any of these modes you can change the brightness. Okay, so that's about it. Alright, let's do a teardown of this keyboard. So first I'm going to take apart all the keycaps on the top, and then there's one screw right here that I'm going to have to take off. Get rid of this plastic thing. And then there should be a couple tabs on the top and the bottom underneath the top cover that I'm going to have to pop off to take the cover off. So let's dive right into that and get going. Okay, the top cover is off. I'll flip it around. And here you can see that there's a black steel plate. Here it looks nearly identical to the Philco plate because it looks like it even has this cutout right here for the controller, but except the cutout in this plate is not needed because it doesn't look like there's a controller here like Philco had. Here, let me just get the Philco PCB really fast. Okay, so here's the Philco PCB, and you can see that there's also a cutout right here because it has pins that the controller has to go in, but it looks like on this one there's no controller connector pins, but then they still have the cutout anyways, so I'm not sure why they would need that. Two screws here. Okay, you can also see that this whole keyboard is nearly all black switches, except this one gray switch right here for the spacebar. This spacebar here, it's noticeably stiffer than all the other black switches. I mean, this is personal preference, but for me personally, I don't really like this one because I prefer like an all uniform keyboard. This one here, I'm probably gonna change it out. Okay, and you can see all the LEDs, they're pointing up on top of the switch, except for the spacebar, which is on the bottom. And I guess this is to light up the Ducky symbol on the spacebar, and the top LEDs is to light up all the letters. Okay, this top cover, here it is right here. It actually feels a little more flimsy than the Philco cover. Yeah, let me just get the Philco cover to compare. Okay, so here's the cover for my Philco. And yeah, it feels, it's a tad more flimsy. Not by a lot though. Okay. Now let's flip the PCB around and let's look at that. Actually, yeah, there's a detachable cable that is connected from the PCB to the board. Yeah, that just comes right off. Okay, it looks like This PCB is for the USB plug, and it looks like it is detachable too, so let's take that off. Okay, here it is. This bottom case, this one feels actually pretty rigid. So let me just grab the Philco real fast and compare it. Yeah, they're about the same. So that's good. And here's the cutout for the dip switch right here. Alright. Alright, from the initial glance, it looks like the soldering job is pretty good. Very clean joints, and there's no flux residue everywhere. Yeah, they did a pretty good job on this. Okay, and then when I look through the space between the plate and the PCB, I don't see any other components or any VS that bridges the connection. So it looks like this is a one-sided PCB with all the surface mounted components on this side only. So all the resistors, capacitors, and all the other controller and chips, they're all mounted on this side. Okay, now let's get a close-up of all this stuff. Let me wait until the camera focuses. So yeah, you can see the soldering job. It looks like it's pretty neat and clean. It uses, it looks like this is the Holtec controller, which is same as Philco. Okay, this is not a dedicated camcorder, so this camera has problems autofocusing, so I can't get a really good close-up of the PCB. So I'm just going to point out a few components from this distance right here. This is the main Holtec controller right here that Philco also uses. Here's the dip switch, the main USB port that connects straight to the PCB, and the USB cable. All these little black things that you see here is the center of the switch right here that goes through the PCB. And all of these little pins that are right below the switch is the pins that connects the switch to the PCB. Okay, and all the really tiny pins you see that are parallel, this one, these two, these are the connectors for the LEDs. Okay, and all these little components you see here are the diodes that are surface mounted on here. The Philco diodes, they're through hole for the newer Philcos, but then it looks like this Ducky keyboard has SMD diodes. Okay, here's more really tiny resistors here. I don't know if you can see it. And here's the USB port. that goes right onto the plastic case. Okay. And the PCB revision for this Ducky keyboard. And it looks like this PCB is specific to this Ducky YotD Dragon model. So yeah, I think with that, that's about it. So overall, the insides are very well made. It's on par with Philco with the exception of the top cover, but then the metal plate should compensate for that anyways. Now I have plans to desolder all the switches and the LEDs to mod this keyboard to be multi-colored backlit, but then that's probably going to be another video. Yeah, so there you go. That's the Ducky YotD Dragon. Okay.